the Indian Challenger RR. Have you got it open?
Yeah, now we're talking. Look at that. The size on that. What's going on?
It's not something that you would say has the sort of aesthetic proportions right, is it?
It's not. That is a hot mess. It's sitting on a track on a paddock stand. So there's not even a side stand. That's a race bike, but it's got panniers and then it's got stickers and sponsors on it. So it's clearly a race bike.
Someone's into it. Someone's thought, I want my brand on that.
Yeah,
there's quite a lot of sponsors there.
Who are they? S&S is definitely on there because they've got the exhaust. Mission is on there somewhere.
Do you know Mission or not?
I don't know any of these.
Mission make tortillas, don't they?
Do they? Oh, that does look like a food chain.
They make tortilla wraps.
Cool.
And some other stuff, I guess. So that's probably what's in the side cases there, because they've got 2 Mission stickers, just loads of tortillas.
Just your lunch in there as well. Yeah,
it's endurance racing. You got to keep the carbs up.
This is a delivery bike for them. This is what Deliveroo is going around on.
If your Deliveroo showed up on this Indian Challenger RR, God, I'd love that. In fact, I told you about that the other day, didn't I? That once a while back, I saw in the news that there was a guy who was doing Deliveroo, but he bought the full Team Sky cycling kit and he bought the race bike that they use, and he was just cycling around in full Team Sky gear delivering takeaways. They'd be similar here, full leathers, just go. Yeah. Anyway, I've got to explain a little bit about this, mate, because it's a product of the King of the Baggers race series. Do you know about this?
I'm not familiar, but yes, now it all makes sense. Look at the... Yeah.
It's like a support race in some of the American racing series. And it started as a bit of a laugh. Like you had to take a bagger, that style of Indian or Harley where you've got the 2 bags at the back.
Big fairing on the front as well. You got the panniers, exactly.
Exactly. It's got a little bit out of control. Like they've got some serious riders doing it. And it looks bonkers. Have a look on YouTube when you get a chance, mate. But like these bikes do look quite daft, being absolutely spanked around a track. And I don't quite understand it, but it has got to the point where I think it was like a one-off race for a laugh, like 3-4 years ago.
Makes sense.
Now it's like they're producing these like special editions to celebrate it.
I can see how it sort of spirals out of control. The Bike Shed did one where they did the Commuter Cup, and it was all like GSs. The brief was that you had to have either a top box or panniers, but mainly top box.
But this is, I think, fully supporting like in the same way the F900R Cup is the support race for the kind of like British Superbikes this year. So there's one at every round. I think this is the same for I don't know what series it is in America, but like it's like a full series now, which is crazy. A bit about the bike though, before you make your mind up on whether you think this is your pick of the bunch this week. So this is the...
Imagine it was. I'm just going to tell you now, this is going to be my favourite of all of them.
Well, it could be. You never know once you hear the lowdown. So clearly it's based on the Challenger, which is their bagger, let's say. And that gets their... It's quite performance orientated for an Indian anyway. So it gets their Power Plus engine, which is the liquid-cooled V-twin. A lot of their other bikes use Thunderstroke V-twins, which are big air-cooled pushrod kind of traditional torquey engines. The Power Plus was built to rev up a bit more and make it feel more modern, more lively. And so they've taken that engine and bought it out. So now it's 112 cubic inches, which I think will be about 1.7 liters. Let me check. 1.835 liters. It's a big beast. So we just gone from a bike that was 62 cc's, 62 and a half cc's per cylinder on the ZX4 RR to a bike that is nearly 920. So each one's like a big liter bottle of Coke going boom, 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 boom. The standard bike makes 112 PS at 5,500 RPM. So not bad, 120 horsepower and 178 newton meters of peak torque. And that's without it being bought out. And they've given it the sort of race air filter, race exhaust system. S&S have got involved and done all the tuning, I believe, and all that kind of thing. So the engine should have a little more punch. They've obviously got rid of the belt drive and given it a chain drive. Does it have a gold chain?
Hard to tell on that, like, maybe. Let's say yes. I mean, it doesn't need that extra bit of horsepower. It's doing pretty well by itself. I can see the swing arm looks pretty beefy because they've obviously jack the
Well, we
thing
just
up
have to acknowledge that the gold chain adds 10 horsepower and then just move on with
I mean, are they struggling for horsepower at this stage?
Well, more just, I'm thinking if anyone drops into the podcast at this point,
It's true.
we'll try and catch them out with that. No, it doesn't need more horsepower, but obviously that gold chain delivers 10 more, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. It's got a more racy geometry, they say, so they've tweaked it up a bit. I mean, look at on the pic you're looking at. It's got Öhlins forks, right? It's got an Öhlins shock, which you don't get on the Challenger, of course. But look at can you see the top yoke? It sort of droops down. That must be custom made.
Yeah.
What do you think's going on here, mate?
That's quite cool. I also, my eyes are drawn also to the crotch cushion, which tells me the braking power must be pretty good.
Crotch cushion and a butt cushion. So it must be quite fast as well.
Yeah. It's got the little step in the rear to keep you in your seat, which I can imagine that is necessary on this bike. It would just yank you off the back. So yeah, no.
In order to qualify for King of the Baggers, obviously the bike has to have the cases and they have to be of a certain dimension. That's in the rules. So you have to fit a certain size of box in, let's say.
Okay. They look like a skin though, because even on the bottom, I'm kind of like, I'm peering over the other side. It looks like it's hollow
It's not
on the other side.
I think they test them, but they are carbon fiber. They've made carbon fiber versions of their sort of side cases to make them lightweight. They've put a little aero tail section there. The rear mudguard is fiberglass to hold them in place, give it that strength it needs, but still be fairly lightweight. It's not metal, of course. That would be too heavy. But the thing is, mate, the reason I was sort of looking at that top clamp there, which it looks like a mustache, I think that's part of what they've done to jack this bike up, because a big problem with baggers is that they have terrible ground clearance. So to make these bikes more competitive and faster, they've made the bikes high up, but also this thing is jacked up to F. And I mean that, mate. It is tall to the point where I heard someone who was like talking about riding one, and they said that it was really difficult to get on it because it didn't have the side stand. So you got to take it off the paddock stand and then try and get a leg over it. And it's massively tall. So want to take a stab?
Oh, the height. Go on then. For it to be tall, I'm going to say 850 upwards, probably with the width on that thing.
Well, they didn't give me the exact figures. They just said that it was like this amount more than the standard bike. So I've added, what I think it is. But I think 887 mil in the seat, but it may be a little bit more than that because of the suspension jacked up.
Because that's getting on to, like we were talking about the Husky Norden the other day, the newer, more adventurous.
Yeah, the Norden Expedition.
And the height on that is like it's monstrous.
It's like an adventure. It's like a dirt bike, but it weighs quite a lot. It probably twice of what a dirt bike weighs because the standard Chieftain. Do you want to do another guess? Sorry, Challenger. The standard Challenger. What do you think it weighs in kilos? Bearing in mind we were just talking about the Buell Super Cruiser. That's 204.
With all the extra, okay. It's got just
the bagger version. It doesn't have the top box, but
okay. North of 300 kilograms.
377 kgs. and the Pursuit, which is the full cruiser version, the full tourer version, sorry, with the big top box, and it's got all the speakers in it and stuff, and it's got the lower leg guards. That's well over 400 kilos. I borrowed one last year, and it was just like you just double check every time you do a low speed maneuver that you're actually going to be able to do it. So the standard bike is normally 377 kgs. This one though, 297. So they've managed to shave a whole heavy person off it. An 80 kg person. But still, it's a bit of a beast, isn't it, that?
With the height on it as well. That's ridiculous.
A 300 kilo bike that's nearly 900 mil in the seat height. Sounds like my worst nightmare. And I say this as someone who went to a track day with Pirelli last year. Kawasaki loaned me a Z900 that had been race prepped. I took it off the center stand and then I tried to swing a leg over it, but my leathers were quite tight. Because I always order too small. And I just ended up in the pits on my side, just with this beautiful race prep Kawasaki Z900 on me. So if I can't even get on one of those, then what chance do I have of this behemoth?
Yeah, and that's a lot more to land on you as well. Nice.
It is. I think I'd be just pinned under it, waiting for someone to pick me up. Be like, quick, my session's starting. Anyway, They've done that by sort of removing stuff. So it does have the windscreen, but there's like, it's got a sticker for the headlight. And obviously it doesn't have any lights front and rear and doesn't have a license plate. But they've given it the sticker that looks like the Challenger headlight so that it looks, recognizable. I suppose there's got to be some brand value to Indian for doing this. But unlike the other ones that we talked about today, where I said we don't yet have a price, this one, the price has been announced. I'm sorry, it's going to be another finger in the air guessing game for you because there are 29 going to be available in 2023. I don't know why 29. Normally, like if it's a special edition like Triumph, if it's the Street Triple and it's a 765cc engine, they make 765 of them. This, they've made 29.
Okay.
Don't get it, mate.
Well, it says 29 on the side of it, so.
29 of them. Yeah, but did they put the number on the side to show how many they're making?
Maybe, or maybe it's their number in the race series.
A good podcaster would have researched that, mate. But yes, there's 29 available. Anyway, guess the price.
I mean, exactly as it comes like this. They're just doing it.
Yeah, that's, you buy it as a race bike, I think.
All right, nice. God knows. Let's go with $50,000.
Basically, you got to double it. It's $92,229, which then I'm thinking there's got to be some significance to the 29 because that's 92229.
Yes.
Must be their number or whatever. Anyway, 29 bikes doesn't sound like very many, but if you charge in $92,000, that's nearly 3 million. Well, it's $2.67 million in revenue just off selling 29 bikes, which is pretty phenomenal.
That's all you need.
Yeah, pretty special. So, factor in the price, consider the price, but just first impressions of that one. How does that sit with you? Is that let's say this segment should be Tim's cup of tea. Is this one your cup of tea?
This it should be called Tim's cup of tea.
Okay.
I'm going to say, this is my cup of tea. I'm going to say, I can't even think of a funny response. I'm just going to go with a blunt no. This is this is not my cup of tea. Same as you, mate. It sounds like an absolute nightmare. A bike that cost me $90-something thousand that weighs sort of near 300 kilograms and is that tall. Sounds like a party I don't want to be invited to. It's
one of those situations where you say, for that money, I could buy all of my dream bikes.
Yeah. And I could get on the thing and I could comfortably maneuver it around as well.
I do like something about it though. Not necessarily this bike. I think it's funny that they've done it and like it's mad expensive and it's definitely got people talking about it. I've seen this posted quite a few places. But what I do like is the fact that King of the Baggers is able to thrive and people are not taking all the racing too seriously,
Yeah.
I like that idea, especially now that we've got the sort of spoilers and aero stuff. And, like Yamaha, was it, that showed a rear spoiler on their MotoGP bike, as well as like everyone having winglets and stuff. Like they just feel like they're becoming less and less relatable, those bikes, the MotoGP stuff. It is still phenomenal. The tech, the racing, the riding, everything about it, phenomenal. But to just have a bit of a wacky race thing that's grown in popularity, much like you said with the Cafe Racer Cup that the bike shed used to organize and having that commute around, just a bit of fun in people's lives. Yeah. Especially in these challenging times, mate, is a good thing. So that's a positive message.